Welcome to the Art Project. If you're new here, please subscribe. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. A friend of mine named Adam Smith wrote 3 different kids' books, and while this is different from my YouTube channel, I thought I would interview him and talk about the writing process and about the illustration of the books, and let him read through one of them. So, thanks for watching. How's it going?
Hey, good, thank you.
You write books.
I do.
Children's books. Have you wrote anything besides children's books?
No, pretty much
No?
just
Okay,
children's.
just children's books. I like these. Read this one. I think you gave me a copy of this one.
Could be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know you gave me a copy of that one, and I've read that one. First question that I have, because I'm an artist and my YouTube channel is a art channel. How did you go about getting your books illustrated?
It's actually kind of a funny story. Really kind of the way that I got into writing books. It all really started with a song. At church, we were, the music director actually asked me if I wanted to write something like a Christmas play for the church, for the kids. He had written some songs, he wanted to kind of tie them together with a story. So we started writing a Christmas program together. And while I was writing that, and he had his songs, and I was like, I had this idea for There's a Kid in My Food, because we were talking about it. And so I wrote the lyrics out and stuff like that, and had kind of a melody, but the music director, the worship leader, he kind of took it and put the music to it, and it turned into There's a Kid in My Food. And we did it for the play, and it was very well received. Everybody kind of really seemed to like the song a lot. Fast forward about 10 years, 10, 12 years, and I wanted to kind of start writing books. I mean, I've written these kids' books, but then I've always written like skits. Even growing up in grade school, I would win some awards sometimes for like little contests in grade school and things like that. So I've always kind of liked writing and enjoyed it, but I never really got serious about it. So when I decided I kind of wanted to maybe try it out and get serious about writing, I was thinking, what have I written in the past that I actually learned the journey of actually getting a book out of your head and to your hands? And I was like, oh, well, There's a Kid in My Food. That was a great little story. I was looking at it, and I was like researching online, like how do you do this whole self-publishing thing, because it's more available to you now than ever, really. There's these services called vanity presses. They'll like supplement that for you. You don't want to format the book, we'll do that for you. You need an illustrator, we got a whole menu of illustrators that we can do. So it was like, this is perfect. It's kind of like my book Sherpa. They're going to get me to the top of the mountain, With any industry, there's people that are kind of shystery. And these vanity presses, that's kind of not of an exception. So there are some good vanity presses that are out there to help the author and help you get there and not take advantage of it. Actually, I joined a Society of Children's Books and Illustrators, or Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. So that's like a national society for people that write and illustrate children's books. And that was a great resource because they know about these kinds of things, and they have like a list of like vanity presses or people that help you, write your book and things like that. I was in the vanity press, basically had everything worked out, and I had the contract, and I was like an inch from just signing the contract and sending it off, and it just didn't feel right. And it was just going to be crazy expensive to put my book, to like sell it in the marketplace and make any kind of, it wasn't all about the money, but you want to kind of make a little bit of money off it. Right. And it was like the numbers just didn't add up. So I was like, if I could find, my biggest deal was I didn't know how to do the illustration piece. But how do you get to, I needed an illustrator. That was my biggest deal. So in my talks with the Vanity Press, they would have a menu of illustrators. It was like, but they didn't have the names. They would name them like flowers. So you'd have like Rose and Petunia and blah, 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 blah. And say, okay, well, they would give you samples of art and like kind of their average rate. So I whittled it down to a few, and the lady that I was talking to with the Vanity Press, she was like, oh yeah, that's Colette so-and-so. I'm like, okay. I was like, yeah, she does really great work and things like that. So I got a name. So further down the road, I decided I didn't really have a good feeling going with the Vanity Press. So I discontinued with the Vanity Press, but I still didn't have an illustrator. So I remember, oh, she told me Colette Alexandrados. So I looked her up online, hit her up on Facebook Messenger. She's in Singapore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I got with her and it's like, hey, I got this story. I saw your illustration. I think your illustration would be a great fit for my book. Would you be interested in, being my illustrator for me? She said, yeah, that'd be great. And she gave me a price. It was basically what I was going to pay with the Vanity Press. And I was like, that's great. And then it was on. So now I have my illustrator and everything. So yeah, that back and forth was really good.
So you didn't go with that one vanity press.
No.
But you got an illustrator. So what'd you do next?
Then I started researching how do you self-publish. So I found a really good resource that gave me the confidence to go at it. Yvonne Jones, she wrote a book called basically How to Publish a Children's Book. It is a great resource that gave me really the confidence I needed. It's like she maps the whole thing out.
Tell us more about maybe there's a kid in your food.
The animals have a problem. The story kind of follows like sheep and cow. They're not having very good days. All they want to do is go back to the barn and have a snack. They get back to the barn. All they want to do is eat, and there's a kid in their food. So it's kind of a whole play on the waiter, there's a fly in my soup type thing. Right. It's like, hey, innkeeper, there's a kid in my food. Can you take care of this kind of thing? Hilarious. Yeah, then Donkey comes along and basically has the explanation of why is there a kid in our food, and now they realize, oh, this is the creator of the world, so it's a really happy occasion. So it kind of changes, takes their bad day and turns it into a glad day.
From the fly to the Messiah?
It's not a direct parallel.
Right. Yeah. So how long did it take you first to do the first book?
Well, I kind of cheated because I already had the manuscript done, but I had the idea in probably November of 2019. And then I had a book, like the first proof in my hand probably about July. So it took about 6 or 7 months. But also it's a sing-along. So I had an added detour with like getting the song created and produced and everything like that. So that was another deal.
But still 6 months is kind of faster than I thought you would say.
It doesn't take too long. Really, I mean, it's faster than ever, especially with self-published.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was the next one?
The next one was Angel Blues.
Okay, and how long did that take?
Angel Blues was like, actually, I learned so much on the journey, with There's a Kid in My Food. Angel Blues was like, man, I got this. Let's go. It's like but Angel Blues went a whole lot smoother, honestly. Really, it's the idea and writing the manuscript and like tuning it up. I mean, when I'm writing stories and songs, it's a little different because when you're writing stories and songs, you have to think about both mediums at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I want to tell a compelling story to the kids and a fun story with the kids, but then you also have to write in a meter that fits in the song.
Right.
But with a song, you can cheat on the meter a lot, and it still sounds great in a song. But if you're reading a book at a certain pace and a certain meter, you can't skip emphasis or,
right.
an emphasis on a certain word because you trip over the meter, and then you're distracted from the story. So what sounds good in a book sometimes doesn't work in the song, and sometimes what works in the song doesn't work in the book, and you have to find that balance, the happy medium in both. Angel Blues was a lot of fun. The song, we learned some lessons on like producing the song and stuff like that. It turned out really nice.
And what was the overall time that it took to do that?
Probably about 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months. So 6 months here, 4 or 5 months here.
Yeah.
And how long did it take Time to Glow?
By the time we were done with Time to Glow, I was probably back up to like 6 to 7 months.
7 months. Where are they available at? How do we buy one of these?
Right now, they're only available on Amazon.com right now.
You did the coloring book.
So, There's a Kid in My Food. So the first time we did this, it was really kind of broken into like 3 distinct phases. Mm-hmm. So I got with Colette, and then she sent me the sketches of her ideas for the spreads. And that was all good. The pencil sketches and things like that. So it was like, okay, this is how the spread needs to look. So then the next phase was the outline phase. So you take the sketches and you do the outlines and things like that. And so when I got the outlines back, I was like, man, this is like, you could just color these. And it was great. So, I mean, it's a kid's book and stuff like that. It's like, well, that was in the back of my mind. Maybe I could just make a coloring book out of this. Mm-hmm. I'm already paying for all this stuff. It's like, maybe get another coloring book out of the deal. That'd be great. Right. And then, you have your full color at the end of it. That's really kind of how the coloring book idea came. I just took the outlines, from all the illustration from the outline phase and turned it into a coloring book.
What do you think the most important thing about your books are? What do you hope happens when kids read your books?
I hope they laugh.
Right.
I mean, they're really fun. I just hope the kids really enjoy the story and have fun with it. They're Christmas story sing-alongs. I mean, it's a book about our Savior coming. And the more that you can get kids engaged with that concept and understand, the gravity of what Jesus was doing, we're having fun with it, obviously, in these books. It's an important story to get inside you.
Absolutely. What does your family think of your writing?
My family has been ridiculously supportive. Actually, it's kind of funny when the first proof copy of Kid in My Food came in. We took a picture of my kids are like all hugging me and stuff like that. I got the proof copy. That was actually really a poignant moment when the book came in, because like you got this vision and this dream and this goal that you've been striving for, and all of a sudden in the mail there's your book, and it's right there. It's a really cool experience. To be able to share that with my family was really cool.
Are they like I don't know, Dad's writing another book again, or
no, actually
they get excited about it?
It's the opposite, because they'll come up to me all the time with like these ideas. Oh, Dad, this would be a great idea for a book. My daughter Everett, she'll come up with these stories. Sometimes we'll just let her do another episode and whatever she's doing. It was Sunny Pop. She had this clown idea, Sunny Pop the clown, and they go weird places. Let me tell you.
But not, is it a creepy clown?
Sometimes it can be. It's actually Sunny Pop the untalented clown.
Oh no.
It's a clown that doesn't have any talent.
Right. Oh my gosh.
I really think I'm going to make a book series about it one day. We'll see
how many think about how many books you could get out of just her.
A lot.
Her rattling them off.
She has a lot of ideas.
Don't wait, because later on she won't remember all of those, and you might not remember all of those. And so you need to write them down.
I do have a file, like when she comes up with an idea, I'll like sketch it and write it down. I do have some of her ideas already written down.
Good. What was one of the most surprising things you learned when you were creating your books?
Wow. Really, when you get down to it, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be to actually publish the book. I'm an IT guy, so part of that came naturally for me because so much of it is online, and like formatting the book, I was already kind of familiar with like how to work with like some graphic, software on the side and things like that. So I had a little head start, but it's very attainable, like how accessible it is to everyone to actually create the book and publish it themselves.
You want to read one of these books?
Sure.
All right. There's a Kid in My Food by Adam Smith, illustrated by Colette Alexandranos. I was out in the meadow just minding my own when a guy with big scissors took the wool I had grown. So I went home for dinner because my day had been bad. There's a kid in my food and everybody seems glad. I was out in the meadow and feeling okay when a guy with a bucket took my milk for the day. So I head for the barn to get a snack from the manger. There's a kid in my food. Can things get much stranger? The world has gone crazy, so sound the alarm. There's a small herd of people living in the barn. I'm just a critter, not trying to be rude, but Mr. Innkeeper, there's a kid in my food. I was in the next village, just hanging around. I gave these people a lift to Bethlehem town. I overheard them talking about a miracle birth. He's the savior of the world. He created the earth. The world's been waiting for the maker of stars. The Son of God is with us, and he's living in the barn. We're just critters, but we know what to do. So, Mr. Creator, thanks for giving us food. And there you go.
There you go. There's a Kid in My Food by Adam Smith, and I appreciate him coming over and letting me interview him. There's a link in the description down below if you want to buy it. If you want to leave a comment for Adam, you can leave it in my comment section down below. And that's it. Go to Amazon.com and order all 3 books and the coloring book and share it with your kids. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.